Okay, and welcome back to the Business Growth Club. This is your weekly edition from us, and in today's edition, we're going to look at pricing, how you price for profit, and I'm going to explain to you how just 10%, either an increase or a decrease in your pricing, can make a significant difference to your bottom line profits. Okay, so as I say, today's issue is all about pricing, and I'm going to explain to you why pricing can have the biggest impact on your profits in the shortest space of time. Pricing is a hugely important issue in business, but actually, for an awful lot of small business owners, they pay very little attention to pricing, or they set their prices many years ago and they haven't revised them since. Today, we're going to look at whether your pricing strategy is right, and we're going to look at the differences that a slight increase and a slight decrease in pricing could make in your business. Now, this is actually part of three editions that we're going to be looking on pricing. In the second edition, we'll look at pricing strategies, so you will have heard of some of these, such as markup, and we'll see whether that's the best strategy for your business or if there's a better one that you could use, and how to price individual projects, be you a service sector business, be it retail, be it trade, or be it a product-based business. We'll also look in edition number 3 on how to increase your prices and how to do that ethically without losing profits and losing customers. And also, whilst I'm not a fan of discounting, how you can actually use discounting in certain situations to help grow your business. This module also links with the DVD that you'll be getting in the post from us very shortly, where the subject is how not to be negotiated down on prices. The technical term for that is downward price negotiation, downward price pressure. A lot of people will say, I get knocked down on prices. People say, can I knock 10% off here, or can I reduce this price, or can I match this price? We'll have a look at how you avoid those issues. So this is actually the start of a very important journey where you're going to look at pricing and how important pricing is for your business. Okay, so what we'll be looking at is a couple of different businesses, and we're going to see what an increase of 10% will do to their profits, 10% added to their prices, or even 25%, or what if we decrease the prices by 10% or 25%? Which one would be the best strategy for your business? Now we're going to look at a couple of different case studies so that actually all of our members can resonate with one of these examples. The first example we're going to look at is Christmas calendar sales. So that will be for a retail business or a product business. We're also going to look at a builder with a typical margin doing those loft conversions. And also we're going to look at a HR company that has a few staff and an office and some overheads with a typical margin. Okay, so let's look at that first example of a retail store. Let's imagine we're a retail store, we're selling Christmas calendars, and the price for these calendars, the retail price, is £3.50. So when a customer takes it to the counter, they pay £3.50 at this moment in time. Now, the actual direct and indirect cost works out at £2 per calendar. Now, don't worry if you don't follow the finances involved in this. You don't really need to, and just trust me that the finances work. But the actual internal cost is £2. So basically that means there's £1.50 profit on every calendar. The store currently sells 10,000 calendars. Should the store increase its prices to £5? Now this is a question for your own business. You might be selling something for £3.50 at the minute. Should you increase your prices to £5? Now some of you might be saying yes, some of you might be saying no. Let's have a look at the business reality, the financial reality of that decision. Okay, the simple truth is that now the store is selling them at £5, they'll only have to sell half as many calendars to make the same amount of profit. That means now they only have to sell 5,000 calendars at £5, opposed to 10,000 calendars at £3.50. That means selling at £5 actually doubles the profits on every sale. Now don't worry, as I said, if you're not following the numbers. I'll show you how they work on the next slide. The cost per item, as I've said, is £2. So that means every penny above £2 goes straight to the bottom line. It's pure profit. So on a £5 sale, we actually make £3 pure profit, whereas on a £3.50 sale, we only make £1.50 profit. Now this means that to make £15,000 profit, you have to sell 5,000 calendars at £5. Or you can sell 10,000 calendars at £3.50. So the same outcome is £15,000 profit. But you've got to ask yourself, can you sell 10,000 at £3.50? or 5,000 at £5. Now, if we stick with that £5, the increase in pricing, is it really likely that you'll sell half as many? At the minute, we know 10,000 customers buy the calendar at £3.50. If the price next year was £5, would half of those people actually stop buying it? Now, simple economic theory would tell us that at least a couple of people, at least a couple of percent, would stop buying at the higher price. But would half of them? Would 5,000 people actually not buy this item at £5? Now, of course, we don't know until we put this into practice, but really I'm illustrating in this slide the huge power that just a little shift in pricing can make. And I'll also talk a little bit later on about how pricing is not as sensitive in your customer's eyes as it is in your eyes. You as a business owner are a lot more price sensitive than your customers are. Don't forget what I said before as well, that this is just the start of a pricing journey. My task for today is to explain to you the difference that pricing can make into your business. In the next couple of videos, we'll be looking at actually how you can increase your prices ethically and how you can keep customers, how you can play around with the right pricing strategy for your business, how you can figure out the perfect selling price and the perfect internal price so you know where your break even is. So this is just the start of the journey. But as you can see, on an item just as simple as calendar sales, you actually only have to sell half as many for just a £1.50 increase. A £1.50 increase, which is just a small amount of actually the sales price, but doubles your profits. Is the price right in your business? At this moment in time, I'd like to ask you, how did you actually set your prices? Next week, we'll look at the right strategies to use in your business, but I wonder how long ago did you set your prices? And did you actually follow any strict theory, or did you just come up with a price based on doubling the original price? Or did you just decide what your competitors were selling and just add a bit, or decrease a bit, or keep it the same price? Is your pricing actually right? When was the last time you experimented with your pricing? I'll be showing you ways that you can play around with your pricing. But most business owners, in my experience, working across so many different sectors, are actually priced too low. They could definitely increase their prices. In all of the businesses I've worked with in the last couple of years, I've never advised someone to decrease their pricing. I've only ever worked with people to increase their pricing, and we've done it very successfully, and I'll be giving you the strategies that have worked for them so they can work for you. But ask yourself, is your price right? How did you set your prices? And is there room for movement around your prices? I know you are probably sensitive about the pricing in your business, and you believe that pricing makes all the difference. And as I said, in next week's video, we'll be looking at how you stop people negotiating you down on price. But as you've seen in that calendar example, and as you're going to see in the next couple of examples, pricing is absolutely crucial to the success of your business because it affects your profitability so much. Now the next example is a builder. We've talked about this builder before. They do loft conversions. And let's imagine the average cost of a loft conversion is £10,000. And that means they make a profit margin of 20%. Again, don't worry about the figures. Just trust me, the maths work, and 20% margin for a builder like that is about right. Some will make less, some will make more, but 20% in my experience is about right. Now, at the minute, they do 12 loft conversions a year, so one every month. Now, the business owner, the builder, wants to know whether he should increase or decrease his or her prices. Okay, should we have a look at whether they should go up or down? Now, the builder currently makes a profit of £24,000 a year. Don't worry about the numbers, but based on 12 jobs a year at £10,000 at that 20% margin, they make £24,000 net profit before tax and interest. So that's the figure there. If they were to increase their prices by just 10% to make the same £24,000 a year profit, they'd only have to do 8 jobs, not 12 jobs. So ask yourself, if you were that builder and your prices 10% goes on them, so it goes from £10,000 to £11,000 average price, you would only have to sign up 2 in every 3 existing customers. You're currently doing 12 jobs a year, you'd only have to do 8 jobs a year. So maybe some people wouldn't buy at £11,000, not £10,000, but you'd only need 2 in every 3 of them to sign up anyway. Now, how price sensitive are people? Would 8 people out of the 12 existing customers pay the higher price? because then you'd make the same profit. So if you managed to sell to 9 or 10 people at the higher price, you'd increase your profits significantly. What if you increase them by 25%? Well, actually, you'd only have to do half as many jobs. You'd only have to do 5.5 lab conversions a year to make that £24,000 net profit. Okay then, we've been talking about increasing prices. What if we decrease prices? Because I imagine most of you out there, at this moment in time, are actually thinking about, if anything, decreasing prices and knocking 10% off, not adding 10% to your prices. So what if you were the builder and you said, would more people buy if it was £9,000 sale price, not £10,000 sales price? Here's the truth, and it's actually quite startling. 24 jobs a year would have to be done by the builder to make the same amount of profit. That's based on that profit margin. So they'd have to sell to twice as many people, and they'd be twice as busy, with twice as many customers to look after, twice as many problems, twice as much difficulty, twice as many staff, twice as busy. It just doesn't work. So just think about that now. If you increase the prices by 10%, you'd only have to do 8 jobs, not 12 jobs. Now that's good news, isn't it? But decrease them by 10%, you'd have to do 24 jobs, not 12 jobs. Are you starting to see now how hugely important pricing is, the massive impact it has on your profitability, and why it's absolutely crucial for your business? So many business owners I speak to say to me when we start working together, I actually sell a reasonable amount, and I work very hard, but I don't seem to be making any money at the end of the day. Almost always the problem is pricing, and they are subtly but very significantly decreasing their prices on a routine basis, not increasing their prices, and this is the stark reality. These sorts of differences to your profitability. Now, I'm sure you agree with me, based on what I've just said, that pricing is hugely important. And what I'm going to give you in future videos is the skills to negotiate and position your business so that you can actually increase your prices. Sticking with the builder example, if we improve the builder's sales skills, so the existing 12 jobs a year they're selling at £10,000, they manage to sell at just 10% more, which is £11,000, so they improve their negotiating skills, they position their business a bit better, they followed all the advice we're going to give you in the future videos, they took from £10,000 to £11,000, so they're still doing 12 jobs a year, their profits would grow from £24,000 a year to £36,000 a year. That's a 50% increase. You've added 50% to your profits. A huge increase, an extra £12,000 in pure profits every year just by getting a little bit better at negotiating. Do you see the power of pricing now? As I've said before, don't worry if you're not following the maths involved in this. You really don't need to. Just trust me, I know these numbers work. I'm not trying to give you figures that don't really make sense. I'm not trying to play a numbers game where I'm trying to trick you. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to show you how just a little bit of increase or a little bit of decrease can make a huge influence on your profitability. Okay, so let's turn to another example. We've looked at retail and products, we've looked at trade. What if you're a service sector business? Let's imagine you're a HR company, so you provide HR advice to businesses, and you have a small office and a small team. So your turnover is £150,000 a year outside of VAT, and your profit margin's 33%. That means you make just under £50,000 a year profit. Now, some of you listening would say £50,000 a year profit would be an increase, and that's great. Some of you would be making significantly more than that. But just imagine for now, at your current business, you're making £50,000 a year. And obviously you want to grow £50,000 a year. You're ambitious to grow your business. What would the right way be to grow your business? At the status quo, as I say, you're making just under £50,000 a year. If you added just 10% to your prices, you'd make just under £65,000 a year profit. You've added £15,000 to your profitability by just a tiny increase in your pricing. If you got very good at branding, marketing and sales, and I believe you can if you follow our advice, and I've seen people do this, my clients do this following our advice, and you manage to increase your prices by 25%, which isn't going to happen overnight. I'll give you the strategies and you can affect them over a period of time. But let's say in 12 months' time, you've got to the position in your positioning, your marketing, your branding and your sales, so you've increased pricing by 25%. Your profits would go from £50,000 a year to £87,000 a year. A humongous increase. Let's look at the other one, maybe where your mindset was before you turned this video on. What if you want to decrease prices by 10% because might we make more sales? Well, actually, on your existing sales volume, you'd go from nearly £50,000 a year profit to £34,500 profit. You'd lose more than £15,000 profit. What if you decrease by 25%, which is a big decrease, but you might imagine that more would happen in the business? On your current sales volume, you go down to 12,000 profit. Now that means you'd have to sell 4 times as much as you currently are to go back to the same profitability. Again, don't worry if these numbers don't really mean too much to you. They don't really need to. I'm going to explain to you now in words how important they are. In that example, increasing prices by just 10% gives you an extra £15,000 in profit every year. That's £15,000. Okay, it will be taxed, but £15,000 extra into your bank account in cleared funds, in profitability. That's not turnover, that's not sales revenue, that's profitability, the bottom line profits. However, a simple decrease of 10% loses you £15,000 profit a year. So don't worry too much if you don't understand the figures. Just know for a typical business, increasing prices by 10% or decreasing prices by 10% has a humongous impact on the profitability. And here I believe is the summary from today's recording. A small development in your own negotiating skills can make the difference between £64,500 profit a year and £34,500 profit a year. Just a small development in your negotiating skills can make that difference in your business. If I said to you when you joined the Business Growth Club, what's the most important skill for you to develop, you probably would have told me it was getting more sales, more people interested in your business, more people going on your website, more people reading your adverts, more people meeting you, more referrals, more customer introductions. That's what you were looking for. Now, of course, we've already shown you how to get some of those, and we'll keep showing you how to do that. But you can see now how pricing might actually be the missing piece in your jigsaw. That might actually be the number one skill you need to develop. Because as I say here, a small development in your negotiating skills can make that humongous profit. Your business at this moment in time might be making £35,000 a year profit. And it could be making £65,000 a year profit just by you increasing your negotiating skills. And this is a reality. I'll be showing you how to do that in future videos, but I want you to take home that message. I want you to read that message on the screen and know just getting a little bit better at selling and at price negotiations can have this absolutely transformational impact across your business. You see, I'm going to show you how to increase prices in future videos, but I want to tell you now that your prices are not set in stone. Your pricing is actually, generally speaking, a habit. And as you know, there's good habits and there's bad habits. You are just in a habit of selling at your current price. It might be you do markups, you add 50%. It might be that you're comfortable with where you are because you're expensive compared to some of your less good competitors, but you're not as expensive as the big players. It could be any reason why you did prices. It could just be you said £100 an hour 5 years ago when you started the business, and hey, why change it now? That's a habit. You're in a habit. It doesn't matter what tactic you're using for pricing. That is a habit, and you're comfortable. We don't like to break habits, do we? But if I said to you breaking your habits could make that huge difference in your profitability, as we've seen in the different examples that are across different business types, I think you'll be saying to me, yes, change my bad habits. Change my bad pricing habits into good pricing habits. Now, lots of you will be telling me that your customers are price sensitive. Now it's true, some people are price sensitive. I'm going to give you the skills for actually how to determine whether someone's price sensitive or not, and how you can actually avoid price sensitive people. But in the main, for most items, we're not actually all that price sensitive. I've put some cartoon pictures up here to ask you, the last time you brought your car, did you buy the cheapest car available? Do we all drive around in the cheapest cars in the world? No, we don't. Most of us buy a car that makes us feel good. That's the kind of car we want to drive around it, that we believe befits our image. We'll buy a car that we can afford. We won't all buy the cheapest car. I think you could probably buy a couple of year old car that's perfectly good, that goes from A to B, that's reliable, for a few £1,000s. Now, why don't we all drive around in cars like that? It's because we're not that price sensitive. Do you live in the cheapest house possible? No, of course you don't. You want luxury. You want the best house you can afford. What about your wedding ring? Did you buy the cheapest ring out there? Or did you buy the most expensive that you could afford? I'm sure you did the most that you could. What about when you go on holiday? Do you buy the cheapest holiday in the world to the worst place in the world? Or do you actually want some luxury and you want to go somewhere that's important, that means something to you, that will be a great couple of weeks break from your business? What about your shopping cart? When you go to the supermarket, do you buy the cheapest items in the whole of the store, or do you buy luxury items? Now, of course, sometimes we buy luxury and sometimes we buy cheap. That's right, and I'll be showing you how to determine that and how to do something about that. But I just want you to reflect on the last 25 purchases you made and say, were they all based on price, or were they based on other factors? Factors such as luxury, service, convenience, locality, they're all very important decisions. And I'll show you how you actually convince people to buy on value, the value propositions you make, not on the price and the price propositions that you make. And making that difference and that shift in your business can make those huge influences on your profitability that I've already talked about. I want you to say that your prices are written in pencil. They're not set in stone. They're not written in a pen that you can't delete. They're in pencil on a piece of paper that you can just turn around the pencil and rub away. That's what your prices are. You're stuck in a bad pricing habit, and you can actually decrease your prices, you can increase your prices at any time in your business. And as we've seen, if you decrease, you could be in trouble. If you increase, you could have much more profits than you currently got. So see all of your pricing as written in pencil. It's there and it can be deleted and changed at any time. Now I want to give you a quick example, and it's a silly example, but it's designed to be silly to make the point. I've got Tesco value beans, which are 28 pence per 420 gram tin. Heinz baked beans, they're actually 415 grams, and they're 68p. Now that's 2.5 times as much. I know it might not sound very much, but it's actually 2.5 times the price. Now sure, baked beans cost a little bit from Heinz, cost a little bit more to produce. There's higher quality ingredients, and there's better quality control, and they spend a little bit more on branding. But do they really spend 2.5 times as much? No, they don't. Baked beans will make significantly more profit than Tesco value beans. For your own industry now, there's Tesco value beans and there's Heinz beans. We need to become a Heinz beans company, and I'll show you how to do that. But there is a huge gap between 28p and 68p. And just by doing stuff properly in your branding, your marketing, your positioning, in your sales, you can see this impact in your business. You can double and a half actually what you're doing, like baked beans have. It's not going to happen overnight, but we're not looking necessarily in this video for quick wins. We're looking for how you can develop in the long term a sustainable, profitable and scalable business that's priced so you make good profits that are fair profits. Profits that you deserve and you justifiably should be earning for the great expertise, the great product, the great services that you provide. Now on that baked beans example, which I know is a bit silly, but it's just something we can all associate with. Actually, in Tesco and Asda, they're 28 pence. But Sainsbury's sell their own brand, Sainsbury's brand baked beans, for 34 pence. Now that might not sound very much, but that's a 25% increase there. So it just shows you Tesco and Asda, traditionally at the lower end of the scale, sell their own brand beans for just 28 pence. Sainsbury's says no, 34 pence, 25% more, because we're a more exclusive brand. We have higher value customers. They attract what they believe is a better type of customer. I'm not saying they are better types of customers. I'm saying that's what they believe, and that's what influences their pricing. So they price higher. Waitrose, who position themselves as being a little bit more exclusive, they don't even stock cheap baked beans. They don't have their own brand of baked beans. So do you see how the people who are shopping at Sainsbury's and Waitrose, they're looking for a whole different type of experience. The Waitrose people are not looking for cheap beans. There's no point stocking them. They're looking for luxury. How in our business do we become more like Waitrose and more like Sainsbury's and less like Tesco and Asda? Tesco and Asda are price sensitive. Sainsbury's less so, Waitrose not at all. That's what you need to do in your business. Okay, so in summary from today's video, I hope you understand now how prices are essential to your business success, and just 10% increase or 10% decrease has a huge impact on your profitability. And as I said, this is the real take-home message for today. Just a small development, a small improvement in your negotiating skills can add a significant amount with your profits without you actually having to sell any more items. You can make much more money in profit, cleared profit, into your bank account without having to sell any more. I'm sure you'll agree if that's the sort of impact pricing can have on your business, then I'm sure you're keen to find out in the next couple of videos how you actually stop being negotiated down on prices, how you can price more accurately, how you can increase your prices, and how you can have long-term sustainability at higher prices through positioning, through branding, through marketing, and through selling skills. So that's the end of today's recording, but before we go, I want to look at a few quick housekeeping issues. The first one is next week we're recording the question and answer session. So if you've got any questions about growing your business, be it stuff we've covered in the last 4 weeks in the Business Growth Club, or be it anything else you're working on, send us your questions. We'll collate them all and we'll record an answer to each one of your questions, and I'll respond to all of your questions in as much detail as appropriate. So please send us your questions. You've got the email address. Just hit reply to the email that sends you these videos with your questions. Also, a note on your examples. Quite a few of you have been sending me the stuff that you've been doing. Stuff like links to your website where you've put your videos on from the video series that we did and that sort of stuff. Keep those coming. They're absolutely brilliant. Very often when you send those to me, it's great to see how members are implementing what we're talking about. And also, if you send them to me, if I have a look at it, if there's any comments I can make or any improvements, I'll give you those as well. So please keep sending those. They're absolutely brilliant to see so many members listening to these recordings and going away in the business and actually implementing the advice, because that's how you get the most out of the membership. Please keep sending them to me. I really like seeing them. They're great for me to have some feedback on what you're enjoying and how you're applying them in your business. And finally, whilst we do have a set structure for the Business Growth Club and we know what's coming up in the future, there is room for your suggested topics. So if it's stuff that you'd like us to cover or recover, feel free to suggest them. I can't promise we'll include them, but if a lot of members say we'd like to cover X, Y, Z, then of course we should be able to accommodate that, because if you're asking for it, then obviously it makes sense that we cover that. Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's recording. I hope it's been useful. I hope you now see how important pricing is for your profits, and then in the next couple of videos we'll be exploring this issue in more detail and giving you the skills and strategies and practices that you can apply in your business to become that 10% more business, not that 10% less business. So until 7 days time, I hope you have a fantastic time in business, and I look forward to speaking to you in a week's time. Goodbye for now.